Hello and welcome to Darnley Cyber Cafe. Coffee break time. You got a minute? This is a podcast where I speak sort of candidly about any sort of issues or situations that are going on in the world. So today I have quite the doozy for you. Donald Trump's cybersecurity future. Let's get into it. You know, there's one thing I hate talking about, especially when it comes to online stuff, is politics. I dislike politics, and I'm sure most of us do as well, but it's kind of those necessary evils in a democratic society, and it really is much better than dictatorships, if I can be completely honest with all of you. So, this particular episode, I want to talk about Donald Trump's second term and the sort of overall implications in the area and realm in cybersecurity. I'm not talking about policies, any of that fun stuff. There's enough stuff online. If you want to hear more about that, you know where to go. But for here, we're talking about cybersecurity and how the recent US election will affect cybersecurity policy all over the globe and also in the United States. Now, I first want to state this that in terms of politics, there is a bipartisan support for cybersecurity. So, this basically means any of the core strategies will remain stable, even with some policy tweaks under Trump. The Republican majority, so which means that any of all of the policy actions, including the reducing government oversight, dodge, streamlining regulations, etc. There is going to be, I don't want to say cuts, but there will be some changes with all of this. So we are all keeping our eye on this, but thankfully that security is security. And from my understanding of the Republican Party in terms of their cybersecurity strategies, they're kind of going the right direction. But I've been surprised before, and I will eat my tongue if need be. So also, there has been a lot of news in the last 6 to 8 months, kind of before, like during the Biden administration and the Trump administration. There's a lot of cyber issues that affected the United States. One big note was during their telecommunications breach, which has not been resolved yet, as far as I'm concerned. It has mostly, yes, but there's still a lot of Chinese actors still in the infrastructure, last time I'm aware. So I'll talk about that in a little bit. Now, what are some of the policy shifts under Trump 2.0? I like that, Trump 2.0. Basically, one of the things I believe was deregulation focus. So that means reduced government intervention and putting more of a spotlight on public-private partnerships over making these heavy mandates. The reevaluation of the CISA. The CISA is the American Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency. And basically, they're looking at specifically for election security and disinformation countermeasures, because we all know, especially the ones that are in this field, that misinformation and disinformation is ripe anywhere, regardless of the platform. It's there. And this noise is, it's kind of got out of hand. And it's been getting out of hand for many years now, but as the days, months, and years roll on, the different platforms, the different siloing of different platforms, you will see different echo chambers of sort of any political stripe. I don't care if it's left, right, middle, up, or down. You're going to see a lot of different echo chambers out there with different perspectives, different views, and different types of information out there. So really, the ability to kind of wipe through the noise is kind of going away. Obviously, with the leadership changes, there are, the heads, the employees are different. So like things like, the CISA director, for example, they will replace people that are more in line with Trump. So you can see things like that. One of the other things under Trump is a targeted threat disruption. So a more of aggressive stance, and I can stand behind this, given the things that I've seen, particularly against the Chinese economic espionage, the Iranian cyber operations, and the North Korean operations, cyber operations as well. Um, there's also, funny enough, a softer public posture on Russian activities. So I'll leave that as is for now, because I really don't want to get into that in this episode. So, what are the threats from the state sponsor actors? Well, you got the usual boogeyman's: China, Russia, North Korea, Iran. Um, Starting with China, one of the biggest things in terms of the economic espionage is the intensification of espionage targeting advanced technologies such as semiconductors, artificial intelligence, and quantum computing. If you ever lived under a rock, the the Chinese are pulling ahead in some of these technologies. The North Americans, Europeans are also pushing forward. So there is this Cold War, so to speak, on advanced technologies. And speaking from absolutely no experience at all, I know very well that the Chinese government will try to have a economic leg up in the rest of the world. They've been like that for many years now. It's intensified for many years. So this is something to watch out for. So you will see a stronger hand in the Trump administration for this specifically, as well as the disinformation and infiltration, because the increased disinformation campaigns and various attempts to breach critical infrastructure, such as the cellular network in the United States, is going to increase. So that's going to rise the US-China tensions for sure. You can expect groups like APT-10, APT-41, and APT-27 to be very active in this regard. So for those who know, you will know. Russia, there, in terms of the political espionage and cyber attacks, the use of cyber operations is still big in the war against Ukraine. I've seen that against satellites. I've seen that against various websites, critical infrastructure. So these sort of things are going to happen, and will give the Russian attackers more of a advantage in this regard. And don't get me wrong, the Ukrainians also have the specific countermeasures and also will attack Russia in the same regard. So you'll see a lot of that cyber war going on. And to be honest, that's been going on for a while now. So this shouldn't be any new news to anybody. So look at campaigns against or from groups such as APT-28, Fancy Bear, APT-44, Sandworm, and Dragonfly. There's going to be less public, sort of less public tactics here. The sort of name and shame with the Russian operation. So we'll see more of that soon, or lack of. Sorry. In North Korea, again, no big surprise here. Again, persistence with political espionage and cyber operations, focusing specifically on intelligence that could sway or influence U.S. policy some way, and obviously military and nuclear support. They're obviously very focused on advancing their military power and their nuclear capabilities, and you see that with their introduction to the Russia-Ukraine war as well. Hacktivism. Sorry, I can't talk today. You'll see, and I've seen this already, left, right, center, up and down, like I keep saying, you see a lot of this stuff going on from outside countries and within the United States. The surge in politically motivated attacks, which is state-sponsored or hacktivist action. So you'll see a lot of that you will start seeing the Trump administration really wanting to crack down on this as well. Obviously, pro-Russia, hacktivism, which will continue targeting various Western entities, not just on the US, but there will be also a focus on European organizations that support Ukraine. You'll also see pro-Muslim hacktivism. So you'll see this reaction against the U.S. policies against Donald Trump, especially those in support of Israel. So you'll see that cyber targeting increase against U.S. and Israeli organizations. So what about the cybercrime landscape? Well, steady cyber criminal trends. These shifts really, in the grand scheme of things, in the bigger picture, um, the general growth and sophistication among the non-state cyber criminals, it's just expected to increase, no matter who was in office, anyways. You'll just see the most of this talking about Donald Trump, but really, in reality, it's not really a presidential issue. You will see a lot of things that the president will do, which will influence the state of affairs for sure. But again, the general cybersecurity landscape will just be business as usual. Okay. I didn't want to make this to sound like there was this concern or, there's going to be this crazy change because Donald Trump's in the office. No, no. Yeah, sure. He's pissing off a lot of countries. Absolutely. With you on that one. But in the general cybersecurity framework, which is what I'm focusing on this particular episode on, you won't see much. We'll obviously see the breaches. And one of my previous podcasts, I did it on an IVF firm, Genea, that got breached. So again, regardless on where you are in the world, I always say in cybersecurity, in the internet, your borders are irrelevant. Whoever is in office is irrelevant. The stakes are just as high, regardless of where we are in election cycle, no matter where you are in the world. And I can say this because I do keep an eye on not just the United States. I keep an eye on a lot of North American, South American, Asian, European, African, Middle East cyber operations. And I can't say that there is a necessarily huge uptick in cybercrime because it's always ebbs and flows. So it's hard to really put your finger on one particular topic. But in terms of the US elections, the new president of the United States, Donald Trump, or Trump 2.0, it's one of those things where we have to still stay on course. We have to continue the march forward in maintaining a proper cybersecurity posture, no matter if you're an individual or you're a business. These things remain true because the simplest things, the simplest actions are going to put you in a better position than if you don't. And unfortunately, some of the bigger targets, like the big tech, are always constantly under attack, constantly losing data. So these sort of news, those news things are going to kind of fall between the cracks because it happens so often, so frequently that it kind of goes unreported. So because people are kind of sick and tired of hearing the same thing over and over again. And unfortunately, with cybersecurity, it can get kind of mundane, exciting for some of us, but it seems like it's just a repetition over and over again. And this is something that I'm very, very much afraid of, is when people start getting fatigued. I've seen it already, honestly, with even back from 2019, you see some things online and people get tired of hearing and seeing and experiencing the same doom and gloom repetition over and over again. And people lose focus on that. So you will see some news outlets reporting some cyber incidences. I try my best to stay on top of the legacy media news reporting to kind of get an idea of what's kind of filtering through the sponge of the news cycle. And I'm starting to see a bit of less and less of reporting on this now, but I could be wrong because I try to have a life and not glued in front of my TV or glued in front of the news the news cycles. So 2025 is going to be an interesting time, to say the least, given the geopolitical turmoil, the new U.S. president, the situation going on in Ukraine and Russia, the actions of China, actions of Iran, actions of North Korea. So the United States in itself has a multi-vector situation, a problem to deal with. And the president of the United States, no matter who it is, has a responsibility to make sure that they are protected against these threats. But again, nothing is ever bulletproof. Nothing is ever guaranteed. There is a lot of espionage going on both sides here. I'm not saying the U.S. is, sent from God. The U.S. is guilty of other things as well, which I'm not getting into that right now, but hear me out. So there's going to be a lot of tit for tat operations going on all over the world, different countries, etc. So I'll leave it at that. If you like this episode, if you like hearing my ranting, please like and subscribe, and I'll love to make more of this. If there's any other topics that interest you, please leave a comment. Please email me, darnleycybercafe@gmail.com, and give me some ideas, give me some feedback, and I would love to continue to produce content. We'll be doing some video content very, very soon. I'll be getting a lot of requests from you for doing more video podcasting, and I have promised that later last year, but some personal things got in the way, and I can't exactly change my life because I'm a busy guy as well. So most of you should understand that, but I do plan on releasing more content, more video content. I've been playing with some video content on our YouTube page. So, go there, like, subscribe, watch, give me feedback. I have no problem getting feedback, and I have no problem making changes. So thank you so much for listening to Darnley Cyber Cafe. I'm Darnley, signing off. Stay safe out there, my friends.